Into the Gray sometimes contains themes of mental illness, psychosis, grief, and the perception of loss. Listener discretion is advised for today's episode. They tell you in training, believe the complainant, not blindly, but earnestly. Because whatever they're reporting, no matter how small or strange, it's real to them. But no one ever prepared me for the call about the mysterious plants. And no one prepared me for the son who wasn't there. It was a Tuesday afternoon, late spring, the kind of day where the humidity hasn't quite settled in, but you can feel it coming. I was finishing up some paperwork when dispatch routed a call to me. A father, middle-aged, name redacted, but we'll call him Robert, reported that his son was growing marijuana right beside the house they shared. Beside the house. Not in the basement, not in a closet, out in the open, he said. Brazen. So I drove out. The neighborhood was quiet. Modest, single-story homes, lawns that hadn't seen a mower in a few weeks. Robert was waiting for me in the driveway before I even killed the engine. He didn't smile, just nodded and said, "Follow me." He led me to a set of wooden steps that ran from the driveway up to a small platform on the roof of the house. At first glance, it looked like someone had once wanted a sunbathing deck. But the wood was weathered. Grass and weeds had grown up through the cracks between the steps. It hadn't been used in years, maybe a decade. Robert climbed several of the discolored steps as they groaned beneath him. He stopped and pointed to a patch of plants near the center of the steps. "See? Right there in plain sight. I can't believe he didn't think I wouldn't notice them. Let alone all the cops that pass by here every day." I walked over and knelt down. They were tall weeds, a little fuller in the leaf than the ones around them, sure. But not marijuana. Not even close. I stood up and chose my words carefully. "Sir, I can see how you might think that. Have you ever seen marijuana plants before?" "Never smoked it. But I knew people who did. That's exactly what they used." Before I could explain further, his head snapped towards the front of the house. "Oh, he must have just gotten home. Let's go talk to him." I remember thinking, how did I not see a kid come up the driveway? But I figured maybe he walked around back while we were focused on the steps. I'm sure he didn't want us to see him. We went inside. The living room was spare. No family photos on the walls. No shelves with trophies or knickknacks. Just a couch, an old floor television, and a wooden rocking chair in the far corner. Robert stopped in the middle of the room and stared at that chair. "Well, what do you have to say about it, son?" I looked around, confused. Almost thought he was talking to me. Sir, I don't think. Robert cut me off, still staring at the chair. Do not use that kind of language, boy. You didn't think I knew what you were growing out there, did you? Right out in the open? On the steps? This officer just confirmed exactly what I suspected. I opened my mouth, closed it. Well, tell him what you found, trooper. That's when the hair on the back of my neck stood up. Because Robert wasn't looking at me. He was looking at that chair, talking to the chair. And he expected me to talk to it too. I've dealt with mental health calls before. Dementia, psychosis, grief so deep it rewires reality. But this was different. Robert wasn't confused. He wasn't agitated in a manic way. He was conversing. So I played along. What's your son's name, sir? Tell him your name, son. Loud and clear. None of that mumbling you do. I leaned in towards Robert slightly, lowering my voice. Sir, how would you like me to address him? I don't want to call him something that only you might call him. Just call him Thomas. I turned towards the empty rocking chair, and I spoke. Well, Thomas, your father showed me the plants on the steps. What do you have to say for yourself? I paused, let the silence hang, then glanced at Robert. He was nodding, gesturing with his hands like, well, as if Thomas was giving some long-winded excuse. Then Robert laughed, a dry, humorless sound. Oh, that is an absolutely ridiculous explanation. Don't you think so, Trooper? I remember thinking, I am in way over my head. Sir, I think Thomas and I should walk outside and take another look at the plants. Just the two of us. Alone. Would that be all right? Robert, almost relieved. Yes, of course. Hopefully you can talk some sense into this kid before he does something worse. Or gets himself hurt. Robert's gaze followed something across the room. From the chair, past the couch, toward the front door. I waited a beat. Then I walked to the door, opened it, and held it, like I was letting someone pass through. Give us a couple of minutes, sir. Listen to him, son. I stood on the front porch for a full 2 minutes, alone. No Thomas. Just me and the sound of a distant lawnmower and my own pulse in my ears. I thought about just leaving, writing it up as suspicious circumstance, and letting social services handle it. But I couldn't. Because Robert wasn't dangerous. He was lost. And if I had walked away, he'd still be sitting in that living room tomorrow, arguing with a chair. Thinking fast, I stepped over to my cruiser, rattled some gear around in my trunk, then slammed it shut so that hopefully Robert would hear it. After a couple more minutes, I walked back inside, held the door again, let Thomas in first. "Well, sir, what did you decide on?" I took a breath. I remembered I had a portable testing kit in my cruiser. I tested a couple of the plants on the steps. They're not marijuana. Just a weed that grows in this part of the country, often mistaken for it. Thomas said he really didn't want to disappoint you. Right, Thomas? I looked at the rocking chair, paused just long enough for Robert to imagine his son nodding. Robert's shoulders dropped. His whole body softened. Looking quietly at the chair, Robert said, "I get it, son. I know how bad influences can be. Hard to get away from. I went through that myself at your age." He turned to me then, real gratitude in his eyes. "Thank you, Trooper, for getting to the bottom of this. Maybe this will keep him on the straight and narrow." I said my goodbyes, shook Robert's hand, walked to my cruiser. I sat there for a long moment before starting the engine. I never found out what happened to Thomas. No photos on the walls, no bedroom I could see, no mention of an accident or an overdose or a runaway. Maybe Robert lost his son years ago and never let go. Maybe Thomas never existed at all. Either way, when I drove away, Robert was standing in the doorway, one hand raised in a small wave, the other resting on the shoulder of someone beside him. They tell you in training, believe the complainant. They don't tell you what to do when the person that they need you to believe in isn't there anymore, if they ever were. In our line of work, we're taught to look for the evidence. Fingerprints, shell casings, tire tracks, things you can touch. Things that prove a truth. But sometimes the most powerful thing in the room is the thing you can't see. The grief that takes up that space. The memories that refuse to vacate. We spend our lives trying to keep the world in order. But every now and then, we run into a story that doesn't want to be solved. It just wants to be heard. Because in the end, the truth isn't always what's under the microscope. Sometimes it's just the shadow someone leaves behind. Thanks for stepping into the gray with me. I'm DK Hall, and I'll see you a little further down the road.